This tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the LaserEngraver software and show you some of its basic functionalities and how to download your file to a flash drive to take over to the actual laser engraving machine. To open up LaserEngraver, you want to click on the icon on your desktop. You'll notice the icon looks like a little green swirl. Once you open up LaserEngraver, you'll see there's all kinds of things to look at. On the top left hand side of your screen, you see File, Edit, Draw, Tools, Laser, View, Help. Those are all drop-down windows that allow you to pick different functions that allow you to create geometry or check geometry or even simulate your model as you create it. Below those are a bunch of buttons that help you select things, zoom in and out on the screen, pan left and right. And on the left-hand side of the screen, there are some geometry creation buttons. In the middle, we have a black outlined area with grid lines. That represents the size of the table of the laser. It's 16 inches tall and it's 24 inches long. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see a toolpath window. This white window is empty right now, but as I start creating geometry, you'll see things pop up over here. Below it are some buttons that allow you to toggle the order of operations. And at the bottom on the right here, the download button is very important. That's how we actually download our files to the laser. Alright, we're going to do some basic lettering. If you pick the text tool on the left hand side of your screen, you'll see the text icon floats around with your mouse. Doesn't matter how big of a box you draw, just click and drag a box and the edit text window comes up. The only things you need to really be familiar with in the edit text window are the font. Those are the types of fonts that you can select. You see there's all kinds. And the text. That's the text that you'd like to project out onto the screen. Now you'll notice up in the font name window, all the fonts look the same. If you don't know the difference or what type of font you would like, I would suggest going to the start window and opening up Microsoft Office and particularly Microsoft Word. Once you open a document, you'll be able to use their font window to see the different types of fonts that are available. I'll keep in mind that not every single one of these fonts is available in LaserEngraver, however most of them are. So you might want to pick a second in case your first option isn't available. So I'm going to look around here and I think I got a font that I like. I'm going to go for Bank Gothic. I'm going to leave the text as Bellows Free Academy and set this to Bank Gothic. I'm going to go Bank Gothic and I'm going to go light. Choose OK and you'll see the font pops up on the screen. At that point I need to size this according to how much area I have to work with on the part blank. In order to size it, I'm going to get rid of the text tool. I'm going to go back up to pick. This pick arrow allows you to select anything on the screen. I can actually even select individual parts of the word. I can select individual letters if you'd like. If you accidentally make a mistake, you can go back and click undo. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to actually go here, pick, and up to draw, and down to size. Now this program works in millimeters, so the length of it is 169 millimeters and the height right now is 8.9. What you need to do is figure out how much area you have to work with and how much of that area you want to actually fill in. Let's say for instance you wanted to make your font 1 inch tall and 5 inches long. What you could do is go to Google Chrome and type in 1 inch in millimeters. It'll tell you that 1 inch is 25.4 millimeters. So if I wanted to put that as my height, I could enter the height value, which is y, in 25.4 millimeters, And if I wanted to make that 5 inches long, I could change the 1 to a 5, and that's 127 millimeters. So I could enter that in on the X line. Choose OK. Now that's what I have. At this point, I'd like to direct you over to the toolpath window, and you'll see that on the black layer, all the font is black, so it's going to engrave that at a speed of 600 and a power of 40. Now, the color is just arbitrary. The default the computer uses is black. If I chose everything and wanted to put it on a blue layer, I pick everything, pick blue, click off it. Now you see everything is on the blue layer. As you add geometry and create different types of engraves and cuts, that's where the different colors become more effective. So I'll go ahead and leave it with blue. And below engrave, if I click the fly down arrow, I can see I can change it to cut, engrave, grade, engrave, or hole. I'm just going to go ahead and leave engrave selected. And then I have speeds and powers. Next to the computer up in the shop, we have a little list. It's like a little cheat sheet that tells you speeds and powers that relate to the material types. If you double click on the value, a little set engrave options window comes up. In there, you can set your speeds and powers. Below that is scan gap. That's the amount of the material that the laser steps over each time in between passes. 0.085 is a pretty good value, just to kind of as like a catch-all, or what should you say, is just kind of like in between, not too bad. 600 speed and 40 power. I'm going to go ahead and leave that alone right now, as I'm actually not carving into any material. Say OK. Now, if I'd like to see what this is actually going to do, like a simulation, I can go up to Laser, and I can come down to Simulate. And since I'm engraving, you can see that it fills in all the words. At that point, if that's what you wanted to do, you wanted to engrave this, it filled in the words, you're ready to download your file. However, before we download, I want to show you the difference between engrave and cut. You'll notice that the words sometimes become larger and smaller on the screen. That's me just rolling the roller ball on the mouse to zoom in and out. Now let's say, for instance, you wanted to cut these letters out. You had some thin material and you wanted to cut them out to hang up somewhere. I'm going to change engrave to cut. And now, when I simulate, you'll notice instead of filling in the letters, it actually draws lines around them. That's the cutting tool. Now you can see that the speed is drastically reduced. Before, I was engraving at a speed of 600, speed 10 and power 100. That's something to the likeness of cutting through about 1/4 inch plywood for our laser. Our laser is an 80-watt laser. I'm going to go and change that back to engrave though, because I just want to burn Bella's Free Academy into a part. Alright, at this point, you need to check two things before you export. You want to go up to Laser, and you want to check the laser origin. So under Set Laser Origin, this window allows you to say where 0, X, and Y are on your part. Right now it's set to center. That's typically what I like to use. However, you could set this to whatever you would like. So if, say for instance, you wanted to start the laser by using the bottom left of your part, you would choose left down, and you'll see that the origin now is set to the bottom left of your part. I'm going to go ahead and choose center. I find it easy just to, we deal with a lot of square parts up in the shop where we can just draw an X from corner to corner on the part to locate the center, and it gives me a nice easy way to reference that. The second thing that you want to check is you want to make sure the immediate checkbox is selected. So if I zoom out and take a look at the part, immediate means no matter where you put the part blank on the actual laser itself and center it, it will cut that part right there. If I deselect immediate, say I set my part down here on the laser and zero it in right there on the center of that part. When I start the laser, it's going to drive up to this location right where I created the geometry in this program and want to burn it in there. So I always leave the immediate checkbox selected. At this point, I'm going to click download and wait about 5 seconds. A window is going to pop up. This window says the communication is broken. All that means is the computer you're working on is not connected to the LaserEngraver. You can choose OK. And at this point, you want to export your file. So you choose the Export File button. And you have to save it on the little flash drive that's formatted so that the LaserEngraver can read it. We have a flash drive that's entitled Laser Drive. So under the Save In fly down arrow, I can open this window up and go down to Laser Drive. Depending on how many files are currently on the flash drive, you might see very few, or in this case, quite a lot. You're going to want to title your file. It's important when you title your file to just do a short word or something that you can reference that has no spaces or numbers in it. The little window over on the LaserEngraver does not like to see spaces or numbers. Also, it's not a very long window, so if you type a really long word in, you're not going to see it all anyways. You'll just see a part of it. So in this case, I'm just going to type in BFA and hit save. It takes just a few seconds, and that file is going to load up onto the flash drive. At that point, you can X out of this window, and you're ready to take the flash drive over to the LaserEngraver and cut your part. Remember, if you didn't catch all this tutorial and need to hear it again, you can rewind the video and replay it as many times as you need.